Welcome back to Tactics Talk with Guido. I've got a replay analysis here for you with CallandorsFire. He sent in a forum post and asked for help on a game that he had. And he said he had a fairly good game on proc with his JT, did 5,000 damage, a couple kills, but it ended up being a draw. And his question was, hey, what could I have done to do better in this game? So I decided to do a video for him. Callandor, I am going to set this as a private video for you and then ask you if you would allow me to use it as a public video. If you do, I'll put it public, otherwise this will be just for you. Let's take a look at the numbers real quick before we get started. And by numbers I mean we're going to compare your JT games to my JT, or your JT record to mine. So you are averaging 14, almost 1,500 damage, and I'm averaging 2,300 damage. You are doing 1.15 kills per death of yours, so you kill 1.15 tanks. Per time you die, I killed 2.3 tanks per time I die. For every point of damage you do, or you take, sorry, you do 1.05 damage, and for every point of damage I take, I do 1.62 points of damage. I'm sitting at about 53% win rate, and you're down at 45 on your tier 9. The other thing that's important, I think, here is you're sitting at 72.35% on your hit percentage, and I'm up in the 80s at 80.9. So what that tells me right off the bat, looking at it, is because your damage and your damage ratios are relatively low, you're not getting your gun in the game enough. Not getting your gun in the game enough. And I think, based on what I saw on this replay, and I'll discuss it as we go and give you some pointers on what I think you can do about it, that's pretty much what's going on. So you are hanging back with your TD, being very patient, and that's a good thing. But to some extent, you're not exploring all the possibilities of the shots that you can get. And that is going to directly contribute to A, low damage, and B, a relatively low win rate. And in the case of this battle, also potentially help your team get the draw and not the win. So off we go, and we are on proc. So he has gone over to the west side, which is fine. That's a good spot for a TD. Another place that TDs will go is sit up on the road over here. Nice job on that initial shot. I probably would have just stopped and waited for the reload right there. You weren't spotted, so no need to go jinking and jiving, and we'll continue forward, so that's fantastic. The other places TDs can go, as I was saying, is right here on the road. This gives you shots down the 5-6 line, or potentially up onto this island over here. I don't particularly like that because it really counts on the enemy team coming up and over this, which doesn't always happen. Another option is potentially to do peek-a-boom over the ridge right here, but with the arty and the way they've got the setup on the map this time, it's probably not a great idea for the very slow JT to just go, hey, diddle diddle, right up the middle and try to poke over. But it does have pretty good upper armor on the casemate, and it does have pretty good depression, so that's something you can use later in the game when things get a little more wide open, and we'll talk about that as we go. So we come over here. Now, I liked that you were checking the middle, and this is one of the only times I ever really see you check the middle the rest of the game. You get very fixated on your side. I think it's very good to do that, just to look and see if you have the shots. Now, the 110E3 is being a bit of an idiot. He drives forward and dies for no real reason. It's a good shot on the bat chat. One of the other things that you are low on your stats is your gunnery. And this is a pretty good example of some of the things that will make that happen. When that guy was running from right to left, he had a high line of sight, and that was going to require quite a bit of lead fire, a lot like duck hunting or aerial combat, that kind of thing. You need deflection shots. You need to have the gun out in front of the moving target so that when you fire, the moving target and the shell meet at the intercept point. If you point directly at the fast-moving tank, then you're going to have a much harder time actually hitting him. You're either going to shoot directly at him and end up hitting behind him, or you're going to have to last minute need a jerk out in front of him to try to take that shot. Why not zoom out just a little bit, follow him with your pipper or the center of your aim dot out in front of him so that once you reload, you can take that nice, easy, controlled lead fire shot. The other thing that will do is, if he does go dark like he did right there, you might be able to just kind of go at the same rate of speed he was out in front of him and just pickle off that shot. If you didn't have any other guys lit or shots, that might be worth a go, especially early on. you might actually pop that guy as he goes. And a lot of it will depend on how long he's been dark and what you think the terrain is over there. But that's just another thing that will help if you zoom out a little bit and not point directly at a moving tank. And I see that quite a bit from players. Now you've got quite a scrum going on the 5-6 line. You have the Mausch in your type, several of your tanks over there lighting them up, and they are doing the symbiotic, light guys in the middle and guys get shots on the hill. Both sides attempt to do that. The reds shoot the greens on this side, the greens shoot the reds up on top of the hill, although they don't have any lit right now. And these reds are probably shooting up like crazy at these greens right here. You don't have a whole lot of part in that, but it's possible that if you spin around and one of their tanks comes up too high, you can get a shot. It's unlikely, okay, but it is possible, and I would have liked to have seen you explore those possibilities, because right now you're not really doing anything, and this is where you need to get shots comes in. Now when I say that, I don't mean that you go ahead and drone forward like the 110E3 and say, charge, I'm getting shots. But you do need to be looking around. I'm not sure if you were AFK right here or not, but there's a long period where nothing moves. So this is your view. There you go. Now you start looking around. That's good. Now you're looking to the middle, and now we're back to the front. There's a period in this game where you're basically completely staring forward. And what I would be doing here is I would go ahead and spin around every time one of those guys was lit and just kind of see if I can get a shot on him, and then come right back forward and start looking at that. Unfortunately, your Panzer 7 is also being foolish and has decided to go forward and get wrecked. Just let you know that somebody is spotting this guy. There you go. Nice shot. And there goes the the Panzer 7. You can gain SA on who killed him. It looks like the 110E4 is sitting there in front of you, at least. There's at least that guy up there. Now this spot is okay. I'm not super excited about it. The problem is that if somehow somebody gets into this bush right here without being spotted, he has a direct line of sight right onto you. If you move forward up into this V, you're a little bit more covered up. Of course, you're also a little bit more vulnerable through this hole right here of anyone popping on this ridge here as well. So overall, this is not a great spot right here. Probably I would get up into about this bush right here. And I realize you're using that dead tank in front of you that's actually part of the terrain as a shield. It's unfortunate shells don't go through those things at least a little bit. And now we're just looking forward. Guys clicking up there. Hey, I need to get some shots. Alright, there you go. There's a 54. Let's hit that guy. Nice shot. You do get spotted by him. There's that open spot I talked about. Now, I like that you're standing in here a little bit, and you're having a little trouble getting your shots on that guy. But I would be very careful about just sitting there and not actually scooting around, because if that tier 10 already had been looking at you, you probably would have eaten a shot right in here. More than likely he's busy on the 5-6 line, because that's where the lights keep happening. But I'll tell you, if I was that tier 10 already and I noticed that you didn't actually budge, I might just go put my pipper on there and drop one on you. Okay, there's the 110E4. Alright, let's talk about this right here. So you got a 110E4, but there's something else going on here. And if you zoomed out and looked at it, you would notice that this 50E, or this E50 is right here as well. He's the bigger threat right now, because he's the guy that will spot you more easily. And more likely he's moved forward, which is why he's tracked there and come out into the open. You need to help your team drop this guy first, and then you can take care of the blind guys like him at your leisure. But that dude is definitely your primary target. On a reload, in a TD that has a long reload, once you fire like that, I would come out and see what else is going on. Is this guy actually coming at me? Is he moving towards me? Let's see. No, he's still tracked. Alright, if I decide I still want to prioritize the 110, then I can come back. But at least come out and look around a little bit, because there may be a bigger threat coming your way. In fact, there's a shot into there. I think that one actually hits based on the damage you get. Holy cow, now there's a 54 up here. Good SA picking him up. A little bit of the same issue with the lead fire here. Whoa. Alright, so that was definitely a kill shot you could have had. You were reloaded in time, but you had the exact same issue where you were just zoomed in. You were just zoomed in and following straight at him. Zoom out, get a little bit of lead fire, and just let him walk right into your shot when you're reloaded. Could have easily had that T-54 out right there. Probably could have had the E-50 down if you'd have put the 2 shots you took at the 110 into him. So that's 2 tanks dead. Could have been dead right there. And they're really the problem, right? Because they're the guys that are getting up, spotting, allowing the 110 E4 to take shots, allowing the artillery to take shots. The more of those dudes you can take down, the better off you're going to be. And again, we have kind of that situation where you're just glad to point forward. I don't know why you didn't even investigate him. You must have been looking at something else. As soon as he showed up, I should have seen a zoom right into him and look for that shot. Now, the other guy was faster on the draw, but you should have at least taken a look. Once again, this is what I'm talking about. You're just staring down the 1-2 line. There's stuff going on over here, man. There's a Malshin trying to poke up right there. And again, it's not likely that you're going to have a shot, but at least take a look over there and see what that dude's doing. If you can get a shot on him, fantastic. It's not necessarily about, hey, am I always going to get that shot? But it is about, I need to investigate shots. There's someone else. There's a Conqueror. Now that's someone we hadn't seen right there. And the WT just took out a guy in the flats there. So what the heck? What's going on? But we're just content to kind of stare forward right now. No reason at all to stare forward that close in. All right, where you're just zoomed in like you were right there. I don't know where it was, about right here. You need to have your aperture open a little more. So kind of look around here. The way I do that technique-wise is to right-click the mouse. That way I can spin around and look at what's going on without actually turning my TD, breaking camo, or messing up my dispersion. So just lock the barrel forward in the tank and just kind of look around and say, all right, what's going on over here? You can actually investigate whether you can see the Malshin and those guys poking doing this. You just come over and put the center pipper, okay, the view pointer, whatever you want to call it, right there in the center of your circle, and kind of investigate whether you can get a highlight on that guy. And that will tell you whether or not you might have a shot on him. So the Malshin decides he is going to trundle forward because 110 E4s and E50s will never pen me, right? I'm not too excited about you following up right behind him. I thought your position where you were was a lot better, at least initially. You don't want to let him outrun you too far, but there was really no reason to push up. Nice job looking at him, and then we sort of look here, and you needed to be moving up. All right, you need to come up that little rise just a bit. This thing has pretty good depression. You may have actually had a shot on that guy. It looks like the Malshin did. He took one. But it looks like you're just content to kind of sit here, and you're looking right into the dirt of the road. And holy cow, the E50 has made a mistake. Here he comes. But you're lit. Take a shot. You bounce the E50. Now I would be moving. Really want to minimize that artillery getting a shot on you. And especially now that you've killed him, I would absolutely be moving. Malshin gets a shot on the Conqueror. And again, another situation if you just, yeah, see, there's the artillery finally gets a shot on you. So potentially some missed opportunities on the Conqueror over there. Looks like there's just a 110 E4 potentially in front of you. The bat chat's raging around there, so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the tanks lit or had been lit. That means one is unaccounted for. That's the WT4, that TD, so that's definitely a big gun. You got to watch for him. Probably most likely in front of you somewhere. Now this is where we are starting to get down to the nut cutter of this battle. This is where the battle is going to be determined. You guys are actually pretty far ahead. Got quite a few more tanks than they do. You own the hill over there. You've neutralized the 1-2 line, and the 5-6 is doing fine as well. So you've got a decision to make as a TD, and this is about the area of the battle where the traditional TD player who just sits in his lane and shoots has trouble because they don't really understand when, why, or how to flex or move around. You can't push, right? If you push past this bush too much further and out into that open, you're going to get hit by the arty, probably the 110 E4, and most likely the WT if he's sitting back there. So that's not really an option for you. If you sit in the bush, you're simply waiting for them to be foolish and move forward, or one of your guys to come over and help in light. But that doesn't look very likely, does it? Because the Patton, the Type, the Centurion, all your guys with decent view range are busy on the other side of the map. So what you end up doing is more or less just sitting in here. Now I'd be careful pushing through this bush right here, because that tank is not cover, and neither is that. So there's no camo value in those tanks. You're actually right out in the open right there. The good news is that those other two TDs have relatively bad view range. And once again, you've got a Conqueror now trolling around to your left front quarter, and you're not really taking a look to see what the heck he's doing. I would look over and go, all right, good, he's not topping. That'd be my worst fear, that he comes up over that ridge, sees me, and I start getting blapped in the face by those two TDs. I would like to avoid that at all costs. If it seems like it was a long time that I didn't talk, I did that on purpose, because it was a long time for you to just sit there. Getting your gun in the game, right? Getting your gun in the game. All right, the mouse should move forward. I'm okay with this. That's fine. But the Conqueror is a problem. He's definitely a problem. He can sit on the side and hit you. He can pop up and light you. The two TDs in front of you are going to be hitting both of you guys. And this Conqueror is going to be using that good depression, popping up and over. And the Maushin gets hammered right away. Gets hammered again. Now you're lit. Alright, so this is a good example of what I was just talking about why you don't want to push. This was a poorly advised push. There were a couple camoed up TDs here. There was a heavy in the middle Conqueror that could view you, come up over and light you. And there were still some guys in the back here, hiding in the back, who had other crossfire shots. What I would have done right there a while ago is just come off of this line, cross the road, go maybe back up a bit so you don't get seen. Cross the road and come up towards the middle and see if you can't start, maybe even all the way to the 5-6 line. Just reposition somewhere over here and see if you can't then use some of the lights off the Centurion and the T10. They are coming over and lighting that Conqueror right there, so you would have had an opportunity to come up and over. Now granted, the Maushin, the Bat Chat, and some of the TDs may have got you, had shots at you, but as it was, right now you're just pushing into their strong suit. Now this would have been a fine push if one of the mediums had got far enough forward to start lighting these guys, but as it is, you and the heavy are just getting rocked, or at least the heavy is, and you will soon. As soon as I saw the light on that guy, I would have just taken that shot. Some issues with your aiming there. Probably needed to get down low into the bottom hole of that guy. We're on our gold now, which is good. Take a look at him. Okay, so we put him down, and holy cow. Now, that was another example of once you shot that first shot, I just zoomed out so I could kind of assess what's going on. Holy cow, look at that. And I would have noted that, all right, I'm busy with these guys in front of me, but I know I've got shots on that guy. I would have also probably seen that WT earlier than I did. It didn't hurt you too much, but you could have known about it earlier. And that's just a gunnery issue right there, shooting into the ground. And RNG, obviously. The GW got the Maushin. All right, so that guy just disappeared, right? Now you're walking into a camoed up TD. You're also probably slightly vulnerable to the Maushin. And you have a shot on the Maushin. It might be worth it right here to just spin left and take that guy down. Alright, this one's not lit. Spin left. You might eat a shot in the side from the WT. That's fine. But kill that dude out so that the people behind you have a bit of a chance. Right now, he's a big problem. Now you just shoot into the bushes where he was. And again, and now we move forward. And that's just not good, all right? So turn around, kill the Maushin, and what I would have done after I took that shot is I just started backing up. At least get to this bush right here so that I'm not sitting out in the open. I certainly wouldn't have taken two shots out in the open like that. Back up into that bush, and you might have had a better chance at this point. All your TDs went down hard. Or not your TDs, but all your mediums went down hard. That hurt. I'm not sure what happened there. Looks like he just plain old missed. I don't know whether it went through a part of his tank or what. Maybe through the shield. Okay, so that is something I see a lot as well. You got hit by Artie and were stunned. And you didn't have a med kit to fix your crew because you're carrying the 2 repair kits, which cost you some time on getting out of the stun. All right, had you been carrying a med kit, you might have been able to burn that and then get rid of the stun and get reloaded a little bit faster. So really, the biggest issue I see with what you did there is 2 things. The first one is overall meta kind of idea where you're not really investigating all the shots you can take. And number 2 is, as far as your push goes, being a little bit sloppy on where you're going and what you're doing, and potentially not falling back when you probably should have early on. So with the several shots you missed in there, and a little bit of a misplay on the push, because that's what I usually see out of TD, casemate TD players on the push, a little bit of a misplay there, ended up hurting your team a little bit and probably ended up being a contributor. I'm not saying it's the cause, but ended up being a contributor to the loss. Now this guy right here is a very good player. He did a good job, like you said. He got the 7,000 damage. So it may have been over. At the end of the day, you were going to lose anyway, but I think you would have made it a lot closer. A lot closer. All right, man, I hope this helps. Like I said, if I can use this as a public video, let me know. Otherwise, as always, we will see you.